Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Streaming Rainbow, a group of GMs striving to create a beneficial community around our actual play entertainment. You're tuning in to the fifth and final episode of our current historical superhero show, Halley's Children, Belgrade. Thank you for watching. It means so much. We hope that you're enjoying yourself and that you'll share that enjoyment with us, not only by liking our content, but also by joining us via our social media links below, so that you can talk with us directly and tell us the sort of thing that you'd like more of. Who knows? Maybe we'll end up supporting one of your projects or even working together. Anything is possible with community. As always, I am Serafina Smith, the Game Master of Halley's Children. Here with me are my wonderful players, the ones who make this game so fulfilling to run. Fellow Streaming Rainbow GMs Laura as Ida, David as Hafthor, and Cameron as Anush. And our amazing friends Courtney as Yelena and Mindy as Mila. I want to thank you all for your heartfelt embracing of these characters and their lives. And with introductions out of the way, y'all ready to play a game? All right. July 23rd, 1456. Belgrade is safe, the Ottomans having abandoned their attempt at conquest. Its citizens are returning to their homes, no longer needed to be huddled in the citadel for safety. The empowered people in the city have just finished a historic meeting in which they laid plans for a new way of working together to be voted on by the broader empowered community 50 years from now. Capistrano's peasant army is disbanded and is being subtly encouraged to leave the city. Hunyadi's army is being put to work clearing and taking care of the many bodies and their related health hazards in the city. Now, here's how we're going to work this. I've got a little scene for each of you, and then we'll talk about what you all do in the weeks following the siege. Then we'll talk about the next 50 years, then the meeting at the Iron Rose, and then the centuries to come leading up to the next Starfall. Not everything has to have a scene, but I want you all to feel free to take a little time whenever you want to have a scene with one or more of you. Does that work for you? Awesome. All right. Hafthor, we'll start with you. After the meeting, as you're making your way to your next destination, Loki catches up to you. At the meeting, he looked like a mustached lieutenant, but now she's in the form of a dirt-smudged young girl from earlier. She smiles up at you and files into step beside you. I was lying at the meeting, she says, because I wanted everyone to feel trusted. Would you like to talk in our minds?
Sure. Yeah, I'm in.
All right. Loki's inner voice is exactly like her outer voice, making you wonder if she changes the way she thinks along with her appearance. She says, I said I trusted everyone within reason, but the truth is that you should be very wary of Philomore. He would kill any one of you without a qualm if he had a reason, and sooner or later he is sure to have a reason.
Go. Sorry. Should she have more?
Go on.
Oh, I was just going to see if I could do empathy to see if she was telling the truth. I just want to do empathy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where did I leave the sheet? Here. Okay. It is just a fair.
Okay. With a fair, you're pretty sure that Loki's on the level?
Oh, a fair
Which is a thing to
give
say.
me great insight to probably the greatest liar of all time. Wild. Okay.
As for Robert, there's something to be said, I think, for a bad man who wants to be good. You know, he'll be loyal to all of you, but he still has a lust for power, and that could cause trouble sometime. You know, Otto's a good man. But if anyone gives him too much trouble and tries to govern him too much, he'll buck against it. So be careful with that. He's in love with freedom. Anush, of course, may be the most driven man I've ever met. But he loves his siblings, and I think that's something you can rely on. And then, of course, there's you. You're holding on to pain like it was the most precious thing in the world. Who am I to touch that? But self-hatred and power aren't the best bedfellows, so all I'm saying is be wary of yourself, too.
I desire no power.
I couldn't hear what you said.
I desire no power.
That's good. She steps away. She turns. She curtsies.
I would ask you a couple questions.
Ask.
I understand that your father was a proud man, and many of the myths that followed your family probably came from his desire to increase his stature. And if there's any truth to the legends, his knowledge. When people began to die for the worship of your family, why did you stand back and watch?
At the time, So, part of the side effect of being me, I guess, is the pressure of being who I'm supposed to be, to fit in, to not be rejected. And at the time, I was very deeply into who they'd made me to be. And I stayed that way for a long time. Has it ever been like that for you?
At the cost of thousands of lives? Seems like power and fear is not a good combination either.
I agree.
And Half-Door bows and goes his way. Really quick though, you said it was Fillmore loves freedom.
No, Phillimore is the one who'll turn on you.
Oh, Fillmore is the one who would turn on us, and then
Otto loves freedom.
Our Otto loves freedom. Got it. Okay. At the drop of a hat.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. He was one of the OG 3. Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Yelena, you arrive back at the back lot of your friend the butcher's house, where your mother and grandmother are packing the family's belongings to move back to your home in the forest. When she notices you, your grandmother makes a sound like clearing her throat to get your mother's attention. And your mother looks up, and for just a moment, just a flicker, looks deeply sad. But in the next moment, she's smiling, and she picks up a pack, very like the kind you use to carry herbs and mushrooms and small game while you're hunting and foraging. But this one's larger. You see, it's full of clean clothes, supplies, everything a person needs for travel. Now, this isn't goodbye, she says. We aren't kicking you out. Your home is always with us. She hesitates, and your grandmother continues for her. But when you're ready, well, it's long past time for your pilgrimage, isn't it?
Yeah, you are correct. There's someone here who perhaps I can study with. I will only need to ask. I'm not ready to go away from you.
Your mother impulsively hugs you, and just so tight, like she's clinging on for a second, and then she relaxes.
Yelena's not going to let go.
And your grandmother comes around behind you and sort of pets your hair as you are held by your mother. And there, in the middle of the clearing, all of the packing forgotten, you stand.
It could wait. It could wait a few weeks, months more. Everything has just settled now. Perhaps we see what is of our home first.
We can do that. We were talking. Your grandmother speaks up. She says, I was telling her that you've been here, stuck with us for a long time.
Never stuck.
Well, then what's kept you so long?
I have still so much to learn from you.
That makes your mom chuckle. So much more to learn in the world.
I have nothing but time.
Well, fair enough. Then come and help us.
Happily.
I can barely lift things with my back the way it is, after all.
Let me, Nana. I've got you.
She chuckles at that, as though she had tricked you. And you set out to getting your things together for the trip back to your home. Anush, you are busy removing your telescope from its tripod when Robert sweeps into the room. There's no knock, no hello, just, why are they not asking the right questions?
They do not know the right questions.
They're not asking any questions.
They've never been asking any questions.
Who is sending these spheres? Why are they leading us from one conflict to another? How are they giving us these powers? I thought it a divine miracle, but where's the divinity in this? And of course, we must follow where it leads. And of course, we must help guide those who come after us. But who is pulling our puppet strings? And how are they doing it?
Now who is asking their own questions?
What could be
It's
more
not about
important?
why. It is not about who. It is about what comes after.
That's something I've always had an affinity for.
And prepare for this. Tell me, what did you see?
When?
This time. Anush starts to smile, like Riley, a little bit. What did you see this time?
And he starts to smile. It's war again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know why we're always born during conflict. As you discovered, the year of our Lord 1759 Late July. A small fort between two lakes. The weapons like tiny cannons held in the soldiers' arms. Deadlier than an arrow. The fort is defensible, but the attacking army is too massive, the defending force a mere pittance. The defenders retreat, and that's when the star falls into the center of the fort. Now that I'm seeing it, of course, I've drawn a map. We'll want one. It's a new land for us. A war between France and England in a new land, but no answers to the real questions, Anush.
No, no answers to the real questions, Robert. If these people will not give us the answers to the real questions, we need more. And this comes later. But now we have time. What we need from you, use your influence. We need to start something where it will fall. A community, a city, a hamlet, what may be, some sort of foundation that will build up in these centuries. And we fill it with people who we deem will be worthy. We can follow bloodlines. So there's a lot of time to plan. But we prepare for after. And in preparing for after, we uncover whatever mystery unfolds today. These people do not trust you.
Hmm.
They will never trust you. This is not something... Unless you prove yourself to us that you can wield. If you earn this trust, it is a good tool. It is a good weapon. You cannot let them show how frustrated you are in them. They have hundreds of years to change. It is the smallest movements that make the biggest boulders fall off the mountain. You have nothing but time. Do not be impatient. Much work to do. Good day.
He turns and leaves without a word.
I let out like a big sigh, like, oh my goodness.
All right. Ida, a peasant soldier approaches you on the street. He smiles at you, and there's a sparkle in his eye, like a literal sparkle that shimmers enough to tell you that this isn't just a soldier. Loki speaks to you in the English of this century, not as familiar to you perhaps as the English you grew up with, but still within your repertoire, and certainly foreign to those around you on the street. He says, I wanted to catch you before I left. I've got a lot to do, trying to track down everyone in just 50 years, but after that, after the Iron Rose, we should meet up sometime. Show each other our favorite places, that sort of thing.
We should. We should. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Why did this gift choose you, do you think?
Why did it choose? Chose my whole family. And it gave me the means to hide and to be who my family wanted me to be.
Ida kind of nods at that. Has there ever been anybody else with our gift that you've met?
No, not that I know of. I don't know if I'd even call it our gift, because you, well, and he ducks into it's not an alleyway, because there aren't really alleyways in Belgrade, but it's into a space between buildings, and sort of gestures you follow.
Mhm.
He turns around, and between 1 second and the next, he is a wiry, weak-jawed, feminine-looking man, beardless and greasy-haired, and it's just exactly the opposite of everything that your time considers strong in a man.
Mhm.
And he says, "This is who I have to be all the time. No one can see it or feel it or hear it, but this is who I am. You get to be whoever."
I don't know. I think there's something that's always been wrong with me. Even before the gift. I don't understand. I don't understand it. I've spent hundreds of years trying to understand it. But there's a wrongness inside of me, inside of my skin, inside of my body. I've looked for it in other places, but there doesn't seem, I don't know. I guess I was just hoping that I wasn't alone in this feeling.
Tell me what makes it stronger, or what makes it depart from you for a while.
It depends on the day, depends on the hour. That body that I was born into felt so confining. It felt so small when I could be multitudes. Does that make sense? It we are of a world where there is two things you could be, and I am neither. I believe, or both, or all, or see, it doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense, and I don't understand why, and I can't blame this star for that. I can't, this has always been there. I don't know. I don't know.
Two things, you say, that we can be, and I dance between them like they're, well, I was looking for a metaphor, but I didn't find one. I dance between them.
Yes.
And I've seen you dance between them as well. But maybe dancing isn't enough. Maybe it's time to think about abandoning it.
Something to think about. I'm angry with you and Gilgamesh and all those others. Did you not know we were there? Why didn't it's been hundreds of years. Did you not know? How did you know we were here? How'd you know about Hastings at all?
I found your iron rose. And I've said that I see the truth of things. I saw Robert there, and I knew him for one of us. And so I stayed and I watched, and I waited and I found more. And then I followed Robert so that he would lead me to more of you.
I can understand that. I can understand. It's not your fault. It's not anyone's fault. But it was a failure.
It was.
And it makes me angry to know that I don't think I will be able to trust that any of you will be there to watch out for those who come next. I don't want that responsibility. My brothers speak of building this community of people. This, when all I have ever wanted is to go and see. But gifts come with responsibility. So I look forward to meeting with you on happier terms and sharing our favorite spaces. And perhaps I will be a little less angry.
And I will do my best to be someone who's worth looking forward to.
Ida, who is probably in the form of Jakob, to be honest, at this point, if they're just wandering around Belgrade, kind of laughs at that. And you are, if the stories are to be believed, someone very much to look forward to getting to know better. This person, I think there's more merit to this person that I see in front of me than you give credit for.
I hope you're right.
Well, where are you off to?
Well, I'm going to try to find Horace. It's been the longest since we've seen him. So.
You see, I don't know much about. It's Egyptian. Yes, I don't know much. I don't really understand. Bird head?
No bird.
Okay, that's unfortunate. That'd be very.
I'm told there were some sort of masks, some sort of ceremonial things.
Much less interesting. Well, good luck. And if you need help, I am fairly good at tracking things down. So
He winks, and he's the soldier again. And he says, "So am I."
kind of salutes, lets him go.
All right. Mila, a soldier you don't recognize finds you and tells you that John Hunyadi requests your presence and that he is to guide you there. If he's curious as to why the commander of the fortress would be asking for the presence of a random peasant woman, he doesn't show it in his demeanor, which remains perfectly professional. Do you go?
Sure.
All right. The soldier brings you to the citadel and up to the rooms where Hunyadi, or Robert, is working. He seems flustered, but when he hears you come in, he looks up and his expression is one of satisfaction. "You may go," he tells the soldier, who leaves without a word. And then he says, "Hello, Mila. I'm happy to say that, if nothing else, I've accomplished one thing today. I questioned my generals, and they found the man you were asking about." He gestures towards the hallway behind you. "I had him brought to the room across the hall. I don't know if this is to be a happy reunion or not, but you have my hopes that it is at least a satisfying one." And so saying, he returns his attention to the work before him at his desk.
She just stands there for a moment, stunned. She'd kind of gotten the thought in her head that this was a lost cause and sort of accepted it as an uneventuality. So she's honestly very stunned. Wow, I was not expecting you to make that kind of effort for me.
Oh, he looks up as though he had forgotten about you, and he says, "It was nothing. It was an easy thing to do. Think nothing of it."
Right. I suppose I will see him then. And she turns and very tentatively starts walking towards that room. And it takes her a moment to she puts her hand on the door handle and just, it takes a moment to bluster up enough courage to actually open the door. She does very cautiously.
Your father, older and more grizzled looking and dirtier than you remember, is pacing back and forth in the room when you enter, and he turns to you with relief on his face that quickly turns into confusion. "If you're the maid, you're not needed here. I'm waiting for Hunyadi. He wanted to see me."
No, he wanted you to see me.
He hears your voice, and his expression changes a little bit. A little puzzlement creeps in, and he stares at you for several seconds, and his eyes squint as though to see you better. And then, hesitantly, disbelievingly, he opens his mouth slowly and says, "Mila?"
Certainly took you long enough. It's funny that you had to be forced to see your own child. Oh, your wife is dead, by the way. Happened about 5 years ago. In case you were wondering. House is gone, big fire, stone in the oven got a little too hot. We had to carry on the baking after you left, trying to make some money that you stopped sending home. Just thought you should know in case you wondered what happened to the life you just threw away.
As you speak, he's staring at you in this growing horror. and you're not sure whether it's the horror of what you're saying or the horror of the responsibility that is being laid at his feet. But his eyes fill up with moisture and he raises his arms as though to embrace you.
No.
Says, I thought you were dead.
You left when I was 4. I was very much alive then. You decided it was more important to play boy hero, earn your prestige, and you left us behind. Do not think that this is about any sort of, oh, woe is me quandary. You left for you. And you didn't give us a second thought. So don't come at me with your false tears. I will not answer to them.
His unsettlement is turning to anger in his face as you speak, and he says, I served my king in my kingdom.
The siege lasted less than a year. You decided to stay away. That was your choice. And you left a woman alone trying to raise a child. Again, that was a choice.
It was your mother's duty to raise a child.
Yes, and how easy it was for her to.
Listen, if it's money you want, I can...
I want nothing from you. Maybe when I was a little girl. Do you know how many nights I spent on my knees praying to the God above, please protect my papa, so that we could all be a family again? And then the siege ended, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited. Well, I have heard it said God answers all of your prayers. Just sometimes the answer is no. You know what? I appreciate Hunyadi for finding you. So I can finally say this. I have been orphaned for 5 years. As far as I'm concerned, you died long ago. And I walk out. Oh, and I'm better at making bread than you ever were. And there is a part of me, and I do this very quickly, that flashes the wings. But just short enough for it maybe to have been a trick of the eye.
Whether your father noticed or not, actually, I know if your father noticed. Okay. Whether your father noticed or not, you do not know, for he does not come out of the room after you.
And then I just go to Hunyadi, and I don't, not like in his face or anything, but I appreciate your efforts, and I hope things are better for you. Thank you for saving the city. And then I leave.
He nods as you leave and says thank you and says nothing more. All right. In the weeks following the siege, Things are calm in Belgrade. Thanks to Robert following Halfthor's advice, no plague breaks out. Otto and Edmund head out as soon as they're able, bidding everyone a fond farewell and promising to spread the word of what has occurred here to the others. Mirwine slips out at some point unnoticed to return to the ocean that has become her home. Askelin stays for a while, helping to treat and heal those who sustain serious injury. Gilgamesh stays long enough to help rebuild the parts of town damaged by fire and invasion, and to find a buyer who will continue running his tavern in a way that he approves of. Robert takes a week or so to wrap up business and then fakes Hunyadi's death by disease before making his way off to parts unknown. What do you all do in these few weeks after the siege?
I would like to buy Gilgamesh's tavern. And when I say buy, I would like to tell Gilgamesh, give me the tavern. Because I have left my gold buried all over Europe and parts of Western Asia in places that I'm not sure I can remember 100%. And civilizations may have grown up around. But before that, I would like to talk to, or I guess I could tell her at my new tavern, but I would like to talk to Ida.
Yeah.
In the weeks. And I take where would we go? Because I want you as Ida, so I think I would like take you somewhere like private or whatever. And I know we haven't figured our word yet, but for now, I'm just gonna call you sister, if that's cool.
Yes.
I think I'm gonna stay for a while. From when I was very young, I've often been a force of destruction. I was very good at fighting, and then I became very good at killing, and then I became very good at strategy, which is just killing a lot efficiently. And I think I want to build here.
I think that makes me very happy to hear. I think, well, I don't know. I haven't talked to our newest siblings yet. Anush gave me a gift all those years ago. And while he might have pawned off the responsibility to others, he still gave me the gift of knowledge and education. And I am planning on offering that hand to Mila. And it feels like Mila and Yelena are sticking around here as well. So if I'm wanted, I will be staying here for a time as well.
I was going to ask you to stay. I don't know how to do this.
I think I've learned how to make a pretty good stew in 300 and some years. So yeah, I can stay.
Yeah. You don't need to do any labor, really. If you just tell me the recipes. And then he literally gets like a knife out and is like sharpening it against like another knife in the air as they're talking. So that's all the hard stuff's taken care of.
I mean, give me something to do, man.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying if you're ever like, I don't want to be around here anymore because all Halfthor does is make me work. Whatever amount you don't want to do, you don't have to do.
I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. No, yes, I'll stay.
Okay. We should. I don't know what Anusha's going to do.
I think we should probably talk to Anush. I can't imagine he's going to be sticking around here
No,
for
I'm
very
sure he's
long.
gonna go start a cult somewhere or something.
I kind of want to talk to Pagan. Can we talk to him and just be like, hey man,
Don't let him start any cults.
just like limit the amount of heads being chopped off, like just some level of oversight that
Yeah.
make sure he eats every once in a while.
Yeah, we'll give Pagan a list of shit to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never met a man who likes taking orders more. It's like some sort of fetish or something.
I don't know what that means. But no, yeah.
It means he likes it a lot.
He does seem to
At
really
this point in
enjoy it.
history, it doesn't mean anything else. It just means he has a really keen interest in it. At this point in history, it's very important to emphasize.
Yes, yeah. It's strange.
Yeah, have you seen the way he looks at Anush when Anush gets all like snappy and yells at him a little bit? Like, oh,
You know what? I was just having a conversation with Loki. I don't understand those looks, and I don't think I will ever understand those looks ever.
It's chill.
Yeah.
I haven't had a look like that in about 300 years, so I get it.
I'm sure we could find somebody.
No, I mean, that's a whole other... It's the other side, the reciprocal side. I
Got
don't...
Got it.
Yeah. Oh,
Got
no.
it.
I mean, come on. Look at me. I know what I look like.
Yes. Again, I don't understand any of it. But
but you can objectively be
I can
like, that's a beautiful
objectively look
building.
at you and say, according to standards of the
Yeah,
world,
exactly.
you are very... Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to fuck that building over there, but I can be like, that archway is beautiful, and the way that the tower had the architecture, you know what I mean? Yeah, same. I get you.
Theoretically,
There's a lot of stuff. I think you need to learn a lot more about Norse culture because there was a place for people like that. There's a lot of there was a lot of women who became men, not so much men who became women, but some of them became powerful warriors. And I've also encountered a lot of cultures where there's kind of like they're both at once, and there's like a different word for it, not even in our language in English.
Okay.
It's like a culture specific thing.
I'll
give you a list of places to visit.
Yeah.
A lot of them are in Asia. Yeah.
That one. Yeah. We should let's circle back on that after we figure out the menu for your pub.
Yeah, let's go talk to Anush quickly.
Yes.
Is he already gone yet?
He hopped on Pagan's back.
He was gone the second he left. No, he's there.
Hey, I know you have probably tons of travel and a bunch of plans that you're going to be really vague about. And make it, I don't know, exciting or whatever. But one, I would count it a very personal debt if you could teach Yelena as much as you know about science and medicine. If you could stick around long enough to do that. Two, you should also stick around during that time because we need to develop I don't know, what do we call it? The compact or something? The tenants. We need to develop the tenants for that.
Is there anything else?
I don't need anything from you, Ada. Are you good?
Yeah, we just
like
your company.
You.
I know,
We want to hang out.
It'd be nice to spend time together without just so much battle happening.
Impending doom, escaping for our lives, trying to save a family that's already dead.
You disappearing into a weird tower for 200 years.
Me sitting at the edge of a dock for 100 years. It's just,
You may find this surprising, but I have no intention of leaving for a while.
Oh,
We have a better idea of what to do now. Yes?
yeah.
We have people here who more or less understand us. We can learn together, we can grow together, and a huge weight has been lifted knowing where we need to be next
Mm.
and how long we have. No, it is time to start this family.
Halfthor's buying a bar.
I am.
Oh, you are a bar for Halfthor.
Yeah, but it's probably just going to be called Thor's Tavern. I'm sure that'll go
I
over
like
well with
it.
the Christians.
That will absolutely, yes. Let's use a pagan name. That will definitely go well. Maybe
They
Thor's
are
Hammer.
stupid. They
Should
don't
we
know.
call it Thor's Hammer? Let's call it Thor's
Yeah,
Hammer.
Thor's Hammer. I like that. It's better.
Why?
Why wouldn't we just call it Mjolnir?
Mew Mew.
Also, and then I filled him
Maybe
in on what Loki told me about Fillmore and Otto. And I even tell Anoush what Loki said about Robert.
Hmm. Robert is going to be a problem. He knows. He had another vision. There's going to be another war,
I suspected as such. I have theories
and
too, that we could talk about.
if he has to stay alive, then I've tasked him to putting roots down where we need to be next, just so we have some place to go.
Yeah. I've been trying to go there for 200 years. I think after the Iron Rose, that's where I'm headed.
I think you might,
For a while.
if she has around, speak to Mirwine about travel there.
Yes. I
She
planned on
might
it.
make things easier.
Mirine and Otto.
Is
Yes.
there
Oh, yes.
any wisdom in quietly spreading the word for everyone to maybe give Fillmore a wide berth? Or at least a wary eye.
I think I would not speak for the both of you. I I'm not afraid of Fillmore. But secondly, I think the point of the compact is not to control. It is voluntary to participate, and they are tenets to guide. Just as we are not trying to control the direction of humanity, we are trying to save and to guide it. If Fillmore wishes to not be a part of a community and wishes to not abide by certain tenets, then just like in normal society, he would face consequences. And depending on the extent of his actions, the consequences will be reciprocal. And we'll make that clear in 50 years.
All right.
Still, I do not think there is any harm in keeping an eye on him.
Oh, yes, for
It is-
sure. Between us and anybody you want to tell him, interpersonally, I don't, my opinion on people's ability to change has changed itself recently.
And I'm sure it will change a lot more in these centuries to come.
So let's give Fillmore a chance to change.
More
But
so
not Robert.
figure out
Fuck him. I'm just kidding.
Oh, fair enough. I think more so giving him a chance. You find out why he would go against us in the first place. That is a good place to start.
Well, it was if he was an attempt to, or given the chance. Yeah,
if he
that's
was
right.
crossed in some way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
And why would that happen? Why would he be crossed at some
Hmm.
things? We may not know the answer now, but in
Exactly.
time we might learn it.
But yes,
And learn
between the
from
three
it.
of us, let's keep an eye out
Yes.
and definitely make sure everybody knows. I think everybody knows the dangers that we all at any given moment, except Anush. But he always has pagan with him, so at any given moment, any one of us could sort of end the life of another before we even knew it was happening.
Yes.
But I guess that's why he has
Yes.
pagan.
Why I have pagan?
Yeah. Well, I know you learned how to fight, and that was very cute on the battlefield.
There was a
You're not very
fight.
good at it.
I missed the fight. I mean,
Yeah,
I was a rat for most of it.
You should. It was so
You're right.
adorable. It was so adorable. Anush was like,
Oh, that
Yes.
is very
and he was like
sweet.
whispering his instructions. You could tell it was like a classroom.
Very much helps me to hear
I
it
loved
out
it.
loud. It's never been in a full war scenario. It was very interesting. I learned a lot.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's a
next
real-
time we work on the not saying moves out loud.
I once
Hey, and
didn't
if you stick
say-
around, you can help me more.
I once wanted just to see how long I could go. 25 years. Didn't say a word.
Really?
You know what? You know what it was? I stubbed my toe in the morning.
Ah,
it.
yes, that
Oh,
always
shit.
gets you. It always gets you.
Pagan,
You know,
Pagan, you're here. You're here too. Is there? We always forget. I'm so sorry. Are you?
mind.
Do you want to stay here, or do you want to go elsewhere? I mean, what do you
Yeah, we
want to
could
do
probably
with
find
your
out where Gilgamesh is going.
eternal life? What do you want to
He
do?
sort of positions himself to make it clear that he is standing with Anush and says, I think I'm here for a while then.
Farewell. You're welcome at my tavern anytime. Just a couple pence a pint. Best prices in town.
You'll get the family discount. All right.
Yeah.
So we're staying here for a while.
And then I don't want to hog anymore, but whenever Yelena's time, at some point, I think with Ida, and if Anush wants to come, I'm sure he has stuff in his tower that his machines he's building and poisons he's testing and whatever other
I'm on vacation.
creepy shit. Oh, okay. Oh, so you're just fucking pagan for hours on end,
Gross.
having fruit brought up to the room.
Give me like 10 years break, dog. Come on. I found the fucking orb.
He's just extra strong. He's just extra everything.
Got it.
Yeah, got it. Ida would like I had mentioned, Ida would try to go find Mila and Yelena to offer their services or whatever guidance that they would want to have. If that is something anybody would want to do, great. If not, we can go elsewhere.
Not
Yeah,
yet.
Hathor would go with, obviously. when that happens.
Well, first of all, I want, before Gilgamesh leaves,
Mhm.
I want to
smart.
go to him. Also, side note, I worked at that inn as a cook and I have a room. What do you do with me?
New management, baby. No, just kidding.
Let's have a conversation. That
Well,
could be
first
the
and-
conversation that I tell you that I bought it. I don't know. Gilgamesh could tell you he sold it, but maybe doesn't tell you who. I don't know. Whatever.
But first, I want to talk to Gilgamesh.
All right. You find
And
him.
if Loki is there too, that's okay. If not, that's okay. But
Loki's taken
particularly
off,
Okay.
but Gilgamesh is still in the city. You find him. It's easy to find him because he is busy working on a house that caught fire and is helping to fix it up.
I heard your inn is under new management.
Yeah, I was looking for someone, and a buyer just came right to me.
So does that mean you're heading out?
I'm here until I can make sure that these people in their homes are taken care of. And then I've got people to find.
Right. That's actually kind of what I wanted to ask you about.
You're welcome to ask me anything.
Back at that big meeting, you said you would make a list of all of the people that were like us, including the ones who had died.
Yeah.
She takes her necklace out of her skirts. Was he one of them?
He looks down for a second before looking back up at you, and he says, "Are you ready to hear that information?"
So it is all deceit. Hundreds of years following a lie. Thousands. So what is the point of any of it?
Well,
You know, when I had absolutely nothing, this was the one thing I had. Something to hold on to when everything else was lost. And now it turns out that all of that was just some guy who got lucky. There was no plan. There was no nothing. I was as alone as I thought I was.
but you're not alone anymore.
In a way, no. In another way, yes. If you haven't noticed, I'm not very well liked. But I appreciate everything you gave. For a brief period that it was, I had a sense of purpose, so I haven't felt that in a long time, so thank you. Well, I guess I'll leave you to your work then. And she walks away, and I don't know if you want me to continue, because I have like 4 scenes planned out that are an extension of this one. Unless you want to move to somebody else first. Otherwise, I'll keep going.
We can go. We can go a little longer.
Okay. So after this, she goes out just by herself and just away from the city, and sits next to Rakina Bara Lake, which is nearby.
Mm-hmm.
It's a place in the woods often, she and Elena would go through. It's a place of solitude. And she just kneels by the bank of the lake. Normally, moments like this, her mind would be overwhelmed with prayer, but right now it is just silent. just listening to the sounds of the world and just alone with her thoughts. And she catches a glimpse of herself in the water. And for some reason, she gets the impulse to take off her head wrap, take off her blouse, her skirts, and just look at herself in the water. Her body, from her right hip up, she traces the scars of the fire that took so much from her, scars that she had always attributed to divine smite, a reminder that from the very beginning, something in her was wrong. That is why her father left. That is why she lost her mother and left her. And so as she kind of traces along all the scars, she kind of ends up realizing that she is holding herself. And in that moment, she breaks. And as one, the 4-year-old who was left abandoned, the 15-year-old who was left desolate, and the 20-year-old who was left broken, wail and keen as one, mourning the loss of the person they would have become if this hadn't happened to them. And in the process of this, inadvertently, her wings come out, the pain of all of it overwhelming to the point that she doesn't even notice it. And as she looks into the water, the sunlight comes off of the reflection, almost as if she has a halo. And for the first time, marred, scarred, and weeping, she sees the angel of Belgrade. And in that moment, there is a slight serenity, and she begins to walk into the water, allowing it to go over her head. And when her lungs begin to burn, without using her arms or her legs, she bursts out and begins to fly and just begins to look at the world around her, at the people rebuilding their homes and going about their daily lives. If they see her or not, she doesn't care. She looks over the trees, the ripples of the water, the animals as they scamper about. And there's a feeling that astronauts have when they're looking at the Earth from a distance. It's this type of euphoria in that they're able to see in a way they never have been able to before the grandioseness of the beauty of the cosmos. Being able to catch a glimpse of the grand design that people were never able to see because they are just so close to it. And she feels a semblance of that now, as she sees the way everything is intertwining and feels the mud drying on her feet from the lake bed, the water flying off of her skin, the wind blowing through her hair, and the heat of the fiery sun warming her up. She feels and sees and, in a sense, understands that there is a grand symphony, and a singular note within it will never understand their place, but all the same contributes to its beauty, and all the same has a purpose that was deliberately placed there by the grand composer. And no amount of proselytizing in books will ever truly understand the sound of the masterpiece, but that does not mean that it isn't there. And she doesn't have to understand it, and that's okay. But as long as she follows the truth of that inner note, she will be able to feel the music, and everyone else's too. And with that sense of understanding of lack of understanding, she goes back to where she kept her clothes, gets dressed, and her necklace that she now has a different meaning, but no less powerful one. Instead of wearing it as a worshiper, she wraps it around her wrist as a reminder. And with that, she begins to walk back into town, picking up different herbs, flowers along the way, because there is one more thing she has to do to make right. So she goes to the kitchens, gets some of the last bits of honey cakes and jams, puts them in this basket, and figures that the Devonics would have gone back to their home. Starts to
What
go.
are you doing in my kitchen? Good.
I'm collecting my things.
It was a
used to
joke. It was a
work
joke.
there,
That's not real.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm just fucking around.
No, it's real. Go.
No.
No.
And I start to go there trepidatiously. She plans to kind of do this sneakily. She does not want to disturb anyone with this basket of herbs and flowers and things that she knows that they would like. The honey cakes and sweets underneath it all, as well as a couple of flowers that she and Yelena would use for their daisy chains. And tries to leave it there without anybody noticing.
Hell nah.
Oh no, I want you to notice, but Mila does not.
If I may interject here, I do believe yeah, my name's Yelena. That's me.
Yeah,
Yelena is setting up her cart to bring it into town. She was on her way in. So there is a deer she has hunted that is being stowed to bring into Bosco. So she sees you and is happy to see you. Mila.
Yes, I was in the woods, and I found some things that I thought might be useful to you.
You
I
were
know
in the woods without me, my dear.
Yes, I seemed as of late you preferred me not to be around, so I figured that well, here is for you, and I will get out of your hair.
Absolutely not. You are going to come inside and you are going to have tea, Mama, and then I have not seen you in ages. You do not get to walk away from me this time. Come.
Me walk away from you.
Mm.
I thought you had your new companions. I mean, they have more to offer you than I ever did. You seem to know that.
It has been a very and she stops at the door before bringing you in. I perhaps that day. It was, I think, for so many, the worst day of anyone's lives. Here, mine certainly. And I have no excuse nor apology for you for how that day and the one that followed played out. But as much as it broke you. Understand? Broke everything in me too. And I just needed time. And yes, Mila, you have a habit of walking away from the people who care for you, and have for a very long time. And this is something I would have maybe been patient with you for before, but I am very tired of the people I care for being blind to how important they are to me.
The last time we really talked, you were afraid of me.
Afraid of you? I have never been afraid of you, Mila. Not for a second in my life have I been afraid of you. I will admit that what you perhaps represent for the people poses some challenges for a very proud pagan witch woman and her family. There are likely people who will see the Angel of Belgrade and see it as a sign to eradicate sinners. But that is not something new for us. It is just now different. These people, these new people, do they have different things to offer? Certainly. But that is the way of life in the world. It does not diminish our pasts or our histories. You are no less to me today than you will ever be. You will never be replaced because you are irreplaceable to me. We may hurt one another, but that is what sisters do. But they also forgive and they love. And it is only up to you to walk through the door that has always been open for you.
I take Yelena's hand. We make a little detour. There's something I wish to show you. And I take you back to the tent. And I show you the angel wings that I drew for protection.
They are beautiful, Mila. When did you draw this?
The day that you came to me. The day the strangers arrived. Before these grew, ironically. I thought Michael could be around to protect you.
I have not needed a Michael ever in my life, but I have needed my Mila.
You know, we never did do that ritual we always do.
This is correct.
There are actually some honey cakes at the bottom of all those herbs.
I would love to do this. But if you don't mind, I have some errand to run here. And then I think we can spend a day together. A whole day. Just you and I.
She nods. And she actually takes off her headscarf, which you have not seen in 5 years, her do that. I thought maybe we could go back to braiding our hair together instead of those flower chains.
I would like that, as long as you do not take offense when I start to wear my hair down. I am quite tired of always being so well kept.
Meanwhile, I just look at what I've been wearing and I'm just like, honestly, same.
Shall I
And
meet
then-
you back? Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna give a very, very big hug.
Mm,
I've missed you.
I was never gone. It's just hurting. And the hug is reciprocated. And she maybe tries to crack your ribs just a little bit.
It's hard. There's a big old bump in the way.
Should get that looked at by the heater. Okay. And then she'll start offloading all of the stuff that, because if you brought her back to the tent, then we are back in Belgrade, the city proper.
Right.
Yeah.
So we are offloading my hunt for the last few days to give to Bosco. And then I would also like to find our friend Gilgamesh.
He was.
Rightly.
Well, I had just spoken to him maybe an hour or so. If he's at the same place, he's helping rebuild. I can take you to
Well-
him if you like.
If you don't mind, this is a conversation I would like to have with him privately. But
I can lead the way.
thank you.
All right. You are guided to Gilgamesh. He is still busy repairing a home.
Yelena will offer him a bit of a meager meal that she had brought with her for her own travel, but has better plans for later now.
And before I leave, I give you another hug and just go, I am not used to having family. So be patient.
We will talk more about that later, because where the fuck have I been for the last, however many years, but it's fine. Sorry, Mila, I'm being rather bold with my words these days, and it is going to get me in trouble. I think perhaps an apology or an acknowledgement of harsh words may go a long way. And there are a few people who you might know this to.
Nods and then leaves you to have your conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you for the food.
Well, I am anything but not hospitable. No. You're welcome. I have a rather sensitive question for you. It was something I was hoping to ask Mirwine, or, well, a friend of the many faces. Seems inappropriate to ask, but before the becoming, as you call it, if I hear someone say that I have been touched one more time, I'm going to throw up. The matter of children has always been very important to who I was. And I need to know what that means moving forward.
Gilgamesh's expression darkens, and you can see the years behind his eyes for a moment. And he says, yes, we can have children. Our children do not inherit our powers nor our long years. There's something in the love of your own child that lifts the weight of 1,000 burdens and allows you, if only for a time, to forget the cruelty of the world, but outliving your child, having to bury them, that is a pain I would spare you if I could. It breaks you. It leaves a wound that even time itself does not fully heal.
Thank you. I knew asking this question there would be no good answer. But I needed to know so I could heal from it. It is probably of no surprise that I know myself and the others have been feeling the depths of betrayal. But this may not, I don't think it'll last. I perhaps feel too much of others to be angry for much longer. The more you are present and truly present, I think the better that'll be for the rest of us as well. And she'll offer her hand as a sign of peace to be shaken.
He takes it, and for such a big man, his hand is very gentle, and he shakes it, and he says, well, obviously I have things that I have to do in the next 50 years, but I shall try to be who you need.
I don't know who that is right now, but I think just being who you are will be helpful. Thank you again. And Yelena is going to go have a sit under an apple tree and think for a little while.
All right.
The only other thing I would like to run is if whenever Mindy or Mila does go, having both your names start with M-I's really
Just
fucks
trying to
my
be
brain
difficult.
up. That's Mila's job. Yeah, whenever she goes back to the Hathor's business / home now.
Okay.
I would just like to have that.
Yeah, at some point, I'm going to find Anoush when he is alone, but this can happen before then, certainly.
Well, I would imagine Anoush and Ida are there probably. I think it'd be like a good time. This would be, I think it's like a good segue into, hey,
Yeah.
This is all the things we want to have to offer you.
So yeah, I go back, with my employer gone. I no longer have a job or a lodging, so I start to go up to get my things, and I know the way of the streets, so I start to shift into that mentality.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Also
I think
knowing that the Devonics.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
have
When you
to-
go to get your stuff, like we're gonna be there. That's what I'm saying. And I would stop and ask, what are you doing?
Well, my employer is no longer, so I was going to get my things. I assume I am no longer welcome here, so
What do you,
make room for the new ones. Whoever
why
is taking
wouldn't you
over.
wait for your new employer to tell you?
I mean, don't see why they wouldn't bring their own people, I guess.
I don't know. Some of us, I've owned a few businesses. I think having staff that already knows the way things go is pretty helpful. Maybe we can convince him. How would you sell yourself to a new owner?
And he means that in a not in a selling yourself kind of way. He means like, what are you?
Oh yeah, that's a turn of phrase. Sorry, translations get so weird. A lot of turn of phrases don't work very well. How would you? Let's do a mock interview. How would you try to impress the new owner as a chef? What would you?
I have much work to do.
Would you say?
I am leaving.
Oh, now we can't play games. Now we can't dance around things. When Anush doesn't want to.
Goodbye. Okay. Good day.
No.
No, we gotta wait for Yelena.
Wait, is
We
there
gotta wait for Yelena.
Yelena's
Pagan? Make him sit down.
Yelena is moving back into her home, now that the siege is over. She's, moving all of her stuff from the butcher shop back to her house.
Happened.
Mila.
Oh yeah,
Mila.
yeah. She already moved. I think she's supposed to sell stuff. Gilgamesh says she often sells.
Oh yeah, she talked to
yeast starter
Gilgamesh.
for the bar. I'm
Yeah,
counting on it.
she talked to Gilgamesh a little bit, and she had her wares, a fresh kill. She was going to sell in the street. Why are? I mean, I suppose I don't exactly know where she is. I left her.
Do you want a
alone.
job? Do you want to stay the cook?
Mila. He's taking over the tavern. It's him. She makes a very good stew, and she's a very good baker.
It was very good. I tasted it before I was kicked out of that tent.
Mm-hmm.
Or asked politely to leave. It's the wooden. It's all the same. You have lodging and or a job as long as you want.
She looks at you with a look of what is the catch. I forgive my sort of misgivings. I just remember our last conversations were not the pleasant one.
You were screaming at us, calling us demons.
Battles are never a pleasant place. Also, I think, Mila, if I may, oftentimes the idea you already have that your idea of what someone thinks of you is often more important than the reality. I am a complex person, just like you, and just like everybody else at this table. There are things about you I do not like, but I do not throw out those with the good. You're a passionate, talented person. And to turn you away at this point would be a disservice to you and to my tavern. So for the sake of potentially growing bonds where there were wounds, and for pastries, I really like meat pies a lot. They're also there's a way to salt fish. I can show you.
God,
I think it'd be a big hit.
Obsessed. Absolutely obsessed.
I think it'd be a big, big hit. I would ask you to stay. And maybe learn a little bit about the man behind the demon.
She just thinks a little and then just nods, extends her hand and goes, well, as we have learned, a lot of the gods are just one of us who got lucky.
Sure. Also, Ida really wants to teach you how to read, and so she'll get into that with you.
I mean, honestly, just wanting to offer anything. There's a bigger world out there waiting for you, Mila. And we would like to help share it.
She actually really tries really hard to like hold back tears. It's like, I was just saying to Yelena today, I'm not used to having family.
You are quite literally stuck with us for a very long time now.
And she's just thinking about her interaction with her father. It's like, give me some time to get used to that.
We've got plenty of it. Put your stuff back in your
Truly
room.
forever, like forever. No, don't worry about it. Sit down. And then Hafthor carries your stuff up with his mind back to your room.
Honestly, I thought
What? It's why
so off-putting.
you spent look. I don't like the warm climates. You know how I feel about that, right? But the Mediterraneans, they know how to lounge. They know how to relax. Also, they're doing some really impressive stuff with painting and medicine right now. A real a rebirth.
A renaissance,
Well, the-
if you will.
And while they're going back and forth, I'm just kind of sitting there with just sort of this knowledge of like there are people actively who want her around and don't see her as a failure and a mistake, the thing that she has thought she has always been. And it's just like, you know, it combined with all the rest of the stuff that had happened that day, just like, yeah,
I think
turning.
as Yelena walked in,
Does she walk in?
it is to the loud, thunderous voice of, I'm telling you, if we start selling wine, we can, one, it's a profitable business, and two, we could sell the short stuff, and then we can make vintages.
Well,
It's-
that implies you have somebody who can make wine. Beer, yes. Beer is easy. Beer, I can help them get the yeast for, but, you know.
Takes
But
her
wine?
crate and just like slams it on the counter a little bit.
Oh,
How is the move going?
Mila, this was days ago.
I don't know time. No.
You see light? Sorry. I forgive me. I think for the Hafthor Ida, Anush, if Anush ever pays attention to what Yelena has ever looked like.
Oh, he booked it. He's not there.
Anush sucks.
Oh.
We
Just
made
in
him
the
stay.
other room, I can hear everything that is happening.
No, we
Then
made him
for-
stay.
You're such a drama queen.
Yeah.
Just-
Yeah, and that is something too, is that I'm not wearing my headdress and there's like a spider of scarring across my neck as well as on my hand. So you guys see that for the first time. But anyway, continue.
Yelena was looking much like a wilted flower for a few days. And for the few days that has gone from the 23rd till now, she looks revived, having been able to run around in the woods, be as relatively by herself as possible, much more calm and at peace. And she looks at her friends here and does not quite make eye contact with Hafthor because the last time they were in the same room, he kept his distance. And then, just kind of out of the corner of her eye, I thought you were. I did not expect you to still be in Belgrade.
Apparently, he bought this tavern from Gilgamesh. Gideon, whatever he's deciding to call himself now.
Mm.
I need. I am in need of specific berries for some of these beers I have planned. Everybody just does one ale, but there's many ways to brew it, and I'm going to bring them all here. So, as long as you wish, we can maintain a working relationship.
Mm. I think we can probably work together.
Also, Anusha's going to teach you science and medicine, and Ida wants you to learn how to read.
I'm pretty sure she knows how to read and do all of that. It's really just.
No, but in other languages, right?
Oh, that's right. I do know. I do know
she
many
knows one.
languages. I can help with that. Yes.
Yeah. Yes,
I've
the other
got
ones.
Serbian and Greek. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we could learn ancient Greek, Latin, Aramaic, the foundations. We go to Germanic. We also
Fade to
do.
black of just him listing languages.
Yes. I think then if there is a moment where the wine or beer has been pouring and things have become a little more reveled, maybe Nona and Yelena's mom have come. We've retrieved them. Pagan went to literally carry them on a cart here. I think if that's cool with you, Courtney, obviously.
Mhm.
I think he would try to steal a moment with you and ask if you could speak outside.
Of course. I'm.
Yeah.
I owe you an apology. I overstepped in what I was saying. I believe everything I said, but it was not my place to say it, and I am sorry.
Yeah, I think I was gonna apologize the same. I have been cold to you. I think I understand. And I needed to hear it. When I was a boy, my father, his father came from a different land, and he was forced to marry an English woman, and then my father was forced to marry an English woman, and much similar to the way that you've had to hide your roots and beliefs, you had to do much the same. But there was a bit of a difference. Then there was sort of as long as we said all the oaths and we did what we were and kept our honor, the Englishmen let us do what we wanted in our own homes. It's a sort of a distance and a respect that doesn't quite exist in all regions today anymore. And so in the winters, we would go, like our ancestors, we would have great halls in the forest where we would have rites and rituals, and all the families would spend a couple months together. That's how I knew my best friend, Ragnar. We spent every winter together, miles apart. I thought we lived, but every winter we grew up together. And there was one winter I was 12 years old, and I was in the way that young boys and girls learn about themselves and each other. Was out after the sun had set, where we shouldn't have been, doing things we probably shouldn't have been. And a wolf had attacked us. And at that age, I had been carrying a weapon, and I killed it. But the young girl I was with and me were not spared harm. Her worse than me. And her mother was a seer. What's the word? You all a prophet is the word. Maybe more Greek, familiar to you. And she was very angry. She told me at that age that I was a fire, an all-consuming one who would do nothing but burn anybody who came too close. And 2 years later, I saw my father hang from gallows. And 15 years later, I saw the burned corpses of my wife and children hanged as a sign. It's a particular pain to be a boy who buries his father and a man who buries his son. I don't know that woman's words have haunted me forever. And in these last 300 years, I've done everything to keep everybody away and far enough away to not burn.
I don't mean to make metaphor of your history, but when a forest burns, it is for new growth to come back stronger and healthier. It can be terrible, and there's loss. But what comes back is sometimes better for it.
It takes a very strong and particular tree to withstand a fire and come back stronger. And he goes in to try to kiss Gillen.
She will allow it.
Pardon us while we all freak out. And absolutely, I ship it. A Hondo percent.
Also, for everybody, this was discussed and everything was... Safety checklists were followed.
Love it.
Yeah, how old are you? No.
What's time when you're
Age has no meaning.
forever?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
All right. That was beautiful.
And at some point, I think I will be waiting in Anoush's workshop because I don't want anybody else to be around. I want it to be just him.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of looking at his baubles and things and just waiting for him to get there.
Yes, can I help you with something?
She just takes a moment to look at you. Just taking you in. Not with the same disdain she did the first time, but with more a mischievous curiosity. And after a moment of that, she says, "How does it feel to be a demon? Mila, I hope you know I will be the one to kill you." That is what you
Mila?
said to me, is it not? Back at
Yes,
the wall
that's
when all
exactly
of
what
this
I said.
happened.
I do not deny these words. I do have a second question for you, if you would like.
Hmm?
Mela, how does it feel to be dead?
Is that what we are?
Notice what happened to you, though. Is it not? I see the lines of mourning on your face. You hold yourself differently. This is not the little girl I spoke to, the one I planted the doubt in her mind that eventually led to her death. No? You are seeing the
True.
world differently. You realize this cave that we look into, this is up here. It is not out there. It is not up here.
I suppose it depends on how you look at it, yes.
Hmm. If you stare long enough at anything, Mila Petrovic, it can become something else. This is what the paltry Greek philosophers talked about when they were done fucking each other.
She rubs this in her hand. Again, she's no longer wearing her headscarf. Like, while you and the others were focused on trying to figure out how to write a contract, I talked with your Robert a bit.
Oh, yes.
Interesting man. Told him about your doubts about him. He explained some things. He also said that I was smart. Made me remember that you said about the same thing. I'm just curious why you did, especially then.
It is because of your doubt, Mila. No matter what you said you believed in, you searched. You searched for truth inside of it. You searched for meaning about it. You searched for it in other people.
It. What it?
Intelligence, knowing things, these are two different things. You are smart because you connect these patterns together. And you will continue to do this, just as you are doing it now, as you hold that reminder in your hand.
Hmm.
It can teach you a lot throughout the years.
Hmm.
Hmm. These religions, they are all the same. They all worship the same thing. They all ask the same questions.
Which are?
Does it matter? The questions is not the important thing. It is the asking of them. It is the coming together and saying, I do not know these things, but I trust that somebody out there does. We all need that from time to time, no?
Indeed, we do.
But the more that you are in this life, the more that you realize it is just another part of looking at this wall in front of us, imagining all of the answers out there, when everything you want to know is in here.
The spark of creation. Indeed.
Yes. And some call it something very different.
Yeah, God does have many names.
Including Mila Petrovic.
Hmm. Indeed. There was one more thing. You know, as you are a learned man and I am a mere peasant girl, I was wondering, when that night when you were all talking about the star or the orb or whatever it is that caused all of this, you destroyed it, did you not?
In its form, it is not that anymore.
See, I thought you'd say something like that. How did you do it? It's that of curiosity.
Well, everything, Mila, has a point on which it can be heated and turn into something else, if you're making sense.
That is what
And
I
once,
thought. See, as I say, you are the educated one, but I am a pretty decent cook, and I know that when you take a scoop of lard and put it in a hot skillet, it melts. But if you put that skillet out in the cold night, it turns right back into lard again.
exactly, yes, Mila.
Hmm.
And the metal, it does this as well. There's just a lot more heat and a lot different pan. And when that lard, that orb, is put out into the cold again, you can make it to change shape, and he's going to roll up his sleeve, and you can see, like, subdermally, he has little like polygon shapes, and he like taps one, and it's hard, and you can like hear a thud. It is in a safe place, and he rolls back down the sleeve.
I go over to it, like tap it myself, like feeling around your arm, and look at you. It's like, I still haven't decided whether or not you were a devil, but it is going to be a lot of fun trying to figure it out.
Here's the thing. I don't think it has been decided whether I am angel or demon yet. And the only people who can figure it out are the ones who survive long enough to tell the story.
And that's why
And I
you will
think we
kill
have
them
all...
first, right?
No, Mila. I only kill things that serve me no purpose.
Well, then I suppose I shall have to remain useful.
I do not think that will be very hard. You cook a very good stew.
And I'm a much better baker. And as I start to walk away, you see the wince as my wings come out again. I pluck off a feather, put it into one of your jars, and go, for your research, and walk out.
I take the feather and I'm gonna like put it up to the light. Interesting.
Marvelous. Hello, everyone. Don't be alarmed by the sudden cutoff. Our session ran a bit long. Well, actually, a lot long. And we decided to split it into 2 more friendly sized pieces rather than present you with a 4-hour long episode. So tune in next week and we'll finish out the campaign together. From all of us at Streaming Rainbow, we hope you have a great week.